Welcome to the world of probiotic foods. This is Cultured Food Life with your host, Donna Schwenk.
Welcome, everybody, and thanks for joining me. We're going to be talking about kombucha, and we're going to go way back to when I first started making kombucha, and that was 18 or 19 years ago. And one of the reasons that I eat cultured foods is because of the benefits they have given me, but they also taught me a lot of things that I otherwise would not have known. And kombucha was no exception. Kefir did that. Cultured veggies did that. And all these foods have properties that are different, slightly different. And so down through the years, I've continued to eat them because they've brought so many different types of benefits. And kombucha was it really stood out to me because of what it did for my husband. So I want to tell you this story. I want to tell you this is personal experience. But I want you to also know that your body has the ability to heal greater than anyone has ever permitted you to believe, because we're designed that way. We're designed, all of our, whether it be, the bacteria in our cells or there's good yeast, there's your immune system, there's your liver, there's all these different properties within your body that allow you to heal, to detoxify from harsh chemicals and pesticides and things in the environment. And as long as you give it what it needs and you also keep your mind in a healthy state and don't have a lot of undue stress, things like that, your body really is designed to heal you. And many years ago, when I first started making, I think it was kefir, cultured foods, but the first one I made was kefir. The next one I made was kombucha. And my husband is used to my crazy ideas and is really, accustomed to my enthusiasm for whatever is my latest discovery. So he usually goes along for the ride, just kind of, never jumps in with both feet until coaxed, but he really just kind of watches me to see what's going to happen. And kombucha was the very first cultured food that he grasped onto, and here's why. So he was having, this was back in, I think it was like 2002 or 2000, I think that's when it was when this all happened. But he was having trouble with his vision. And I think he was like 40 years old. And he was having terrible problems with glare and driving at night. So I finally went to an eye doctor and he was diagnosed with cataracts. And there are two different types of cataracts. I didn't know this, but there are two different kinds. And one is that grows slowly over time, and the other is aggressive and develops quickly over a 6-month period. And these were the kind that he had, and they was going to require surgery. And the first eye was very bad, so he had to have surgery right away for that one. But the other one was growing too, and he said he would need surgery probably within the next 3 to 6 months. And believe you me, he was not very happy about this. He was, only 40 years old, and he said he felt like he was 90. And he said at the doctor's office, he said he was very young to be having this type of problem. And he felt really bad about that. And he didn't know why it had happened, and the doctor couldn't explain why it happened. He didn't know if it was an injury to the head. He didn't know what was causing this to rapidly grow. But once again, I knew that his body was trying to tell him something. And perhaps we needed to do something different in our lives, but I didn't know what. So I couldn't understand what would cause him to have cataracts at such a young age. So this was in the very, very early days of discovering cultured foods. I had only made kefir prior to this, and he was not very big on cultured foods. He really wasn't trying them. He was calling them my science projects, and he wasn't ready to be my guinea pig yet. But when I started to make kombucha, my oldest daughter, Macy, told me to never, ever let him look in the kombucha jar, because if he did, he would never drink it. Because if you've ever seen a kombucha SCOBY, you know what I'm talking about. It's the craziest looking thing. And I've had people tell me it looks like, it's just a sludgy mash. People say it looks like a brain. I've heard people say it looks like a placenta. It's crazy looking, but it's really a combination of bacteria and yeast. And I really think they're beautiful. They're kind of rubbery. A lot of people who will even use them, will dry them and use them to repair their drums, because it's kind of like that texture when it dries. And they have a lot of things that you'll see a lot of what they call, they're things that are will turn brown or sludgy sometimes, and you'll see a lot of activity. You'll see these little, they're actually combinations of bacteria and yeast, and it's what starts the fermentation. And then they die, and you'll see kind of stringy things in the kombucha, so it can look kind of scary. And you can strain it out if you want. I just drink it because I know that it's good for me, but it doesn't bother me. But it can look very scary. So we decided to never let him look in the jar. So he really liked kombucha. So that was one of the first cultured foods he ever tried. And here's the deal. The research suggests, and I'm going to put the research in the link description below. You can go to the article and see the research. But the research suggests that many of kombucha's health benefits are attributed to its antioxidant activity. And antioxidants are known to prevent many diseases caused by free radical damage, such as disorders of the eyes, retinal degeneration, cataracts, even on the skin, dermatitis, psoriasis, aging, and things like that. So I told this to Ron and handed him a glass of my homemade kombucha because I had done some research and found that it did help things in the eyes. And he was, much to my surprise, he really loved kombucha. And he started drinking it every day. And he started to drink a lot, probably 16 to 32 ounces a day. And I was very excited. And I started making gallons and gallons of it, which I've been doing to this day. And he was drinking it several times a day just because he enjoyed it. Meanwhile, we never let him look in the jar. And he did have his surgery he had cataract removed on his first eye. But then something happened. They kept scheduling appointments because they said the other eye had the same type of fast-growing cataract in it, and he was going to need surgery within a few months. But at every appointment, they would check it, and the doctor would sit back in his chair and go, I wonder why that stopped growing. What would make that cataract stop growing? I have never seen anything like that. And he was baffled. He was very baffled by it. Now, fast forward 19 years later, he has never had surgery in that eye. And he's a faithful drinker of kombucha, and he really loves it. And it wasn't too long after that, he started having kefir and cultured veggies. And it was really something that really changed his life. So I don't know what happened. I don't know if it was the kombucha. I don't know if it was the good bacteria that he started to ingest that changed him. Because kombucha has a lot of properties, and we're going to get into that later in this broadcast, that it does to assist the body. But it was really the only thing that we had changed in his diet, was that he was drinking a lot of kombucha. And I don't know if it changed his ecosystem inside, making him better able to get nutrients to his cell. I don't know, but I'm very, very thankful. And I'm thankful for these invisible organisms that have made themselves known to me and have helped us in so many ways in our lives. It opened a whole new world for me. Kefir and kombucha and cultured vegetables helped me with many ailments in my family and myself, whether it was high blood pressure or diabetes or IBS with my daughter. All of these problems went away when we started to really change the microbiome inside of us. And I've written many, many blogs about each one of those things. It helped Ron with acid reflux. The kefir did. And all of these things really changed the way that we ate and lived in this world. And, it really made my husband connect to the fact that what we eat and what we drink make the cells of our body and contribute to the health or disease of our body. And it was after that he really started to embrace the other cultured foods and really became a convert. I see him every morning before work. He drinks a glass of kefir, and he's kind of hardcore. He just drinks it plain, whereas I got to have a smoothie or something. He'll drink it. He likes to make the kefir cheese dips. He does that a lot. He likes the tomato bruschetta cultured vegetables. That's one of his favorite things, and actually will make it himself, which is a miracle because he usually doesn't do stuff like that. But without a doubt, he knows that all of these cultured foods have made a difference in his life and in his health. And without them, he does not feel as good. And I didn't have to convince him. He saw that, his joints felt better when he had these, especially kombucha and kefir. He felt better. He didn't feel achy. He's worked with physical labor a lot. He's had his own roofing business for years and still continues to do that. He's the guy that runs the business. He doesn't do the actual labor, although sometimes he still does to help the guys But he's really worn his body out a lot because he's used it a lot, and these foods have really helped him. And he's always had his own business, but he prides himself that he can still outroof a lot of guys half his age. He doesn't want to do it on a regular basis, but sometimes he'll do it to get things done, and it's helped him stay healthy. So he still is drinking and eating these foods because they help him so much, and he sees that as he's gotten older. He really sees the difference these foods have made. So all the cells in our body are constantly reaching for wellness, and you get to decide what you supply them in order for them to do their job. So each of your cells do 6 trillion things per second. And that's that's hard to wrap your head around. 6 trillion things per second is just mind-boggling. We don't know that's going on. And for instance, your blood travels 60,000 miles per day inside your body. And your 100 trillion bacteria digest your food. They make vitamins. They make vitamin K. They enhance the nutrient absorption of your body. So when you eat foods, like say, for instance, you have, some cultured veggies or kombucha with a meal, it's going to help you absorb those nutrients from the other foods that you're eating with it. These foods help, your bacteria helps fight germs, fights viral infections, boosts your immune system, removes heavy toxins in your body. And it's doing this all without you knowing it. A lot of the bacteria in your body will consume some of the toxic debris, for instance, in your urine when people who have kidney problems. If you have the right bacterias, they can consume some of the toxic debris in your urine, urea, to keep the kidneys clean. And it does that with cholesterol. It can consume cholesterol as a food source, which lowers cholesterol throughout the body. They do so much that we're not aware of. But you're this brilliant creation, and all of this stuff is going on without your awareness. And all you have to do is take care of your body by giving it the foods that it needs and watch it shine for you. I love this quote by Henry Mill, who said, "Don't look for miracles. You yourself are the miracle." And that is really true. We have forgotten what our bodies do. And a lot of people don't understand that our immune system is here to keep us healthy, and to build that up is our greatest defense against all kinds of things, whether it be flus or viruses or colds or any kind of stomach distress. Our immune system is here to help us. But if we're not feeding it properly, if we're not handling our stress properly, then our immune system can't do its job. And for instance, this is a really interesting thing that happens in your body. So your body has these functions that go on, but let's say you're starting to focus in a way that's very fearful. What that sends chemical signals to your body that says you're not safe. So it needs to send, that flight or fight expression into your body so that you're on high alert. So your cells can't replenish themselves as easily because your body's in a state of, high alert. So it doesn't function normally. And so it can't stay in that phase. And if you stay in that place of fear in a long time and your body feels like it's got to take care of you in an emergency situation, then it can't heal and repair you. So then you start to create disease in your body because your body's not in a relaxed state where it can, do all the processes it needs to do because your emotions have got you in a fearful place. And so your body, if you're in a place of fear or if you're in a place of stress, your body is going to create a different set of chemicals that can create disease if you stay in that long term. So that's why it's so important not only to handle just what we eat in our bodies, but to also handle our emotional state and find a way to calm down, find ways to, trust and have faith, and to really understand that your body needs to be, in homeostasis where it can repair you and keep you healthy and not be in that constant state of flight or fight that's, in a state of high alert where it can't do its regular functions. So these foods really help with that. When you change the bacteria in your gut, it helps your emotional state in a very powerful way. It doesn't do it completely. You've still got to handle some things on your own emotionally, but it sure does make it easier to have a healthy gut and healthy gut flora. So let me tell you 7 reasons that I drink kombucha every day. So number 1 is that it detoxifies me from addictive substance. Many, many years ago, I was addicted to healthy foods and beverages, you know, carbonated drinks. I think I was drinking Diet Coke, like gallons of it, because years ago I had diabetes. So I thought Diet Pop was better for me, never knowing that it was actually creating more problems than it was, you know, creating any balance at all. So I couldn't get off of it. It has a very addictive quality to it. But kombucha was what helped me replace that addictive quality of Diet Pop and highly processed foods. It got me off of it because it detoxifies you. It works with the liver to help detoxify you. And it helped me to get rid of those chemicals in my body that made me want to keep eating and drinking it. And it just helped me to stop craving those harmful foods. And it was really kombucha that assisted my liver and allowed me to crave healthier foods and drinks. And those addictions became a thing of the past. So if you really, really need to take a look at what you're eating and drinking, a lot of people are drinking soda, whether it's sugary or it's the diet-free ones. They're all not very good for you because they have colorings in them. They have, especially the ones that are the sugar-free ones that have the artificial sweeteners. A lot of those artificial sweeteners are not good for you. There's been a lot of research on all of them and they all do different things, but some of them can even disrupt 50% of your good bacteria in your gut. So that is one of the reasons I quit drinking them. I had no idea that it could do that. So, and I've really seen a difference in my life since I replaced that with kombucha and water kefir too. Mostly kombucha. I love kombucha the most. But it really made a difference. Okay, number 2, no need for deodorant. I have not used deodorant in, 15 years. And I consume about 16 ounces of kombucha daily. And body odor is bacteria. It's bad bacteria, that's coming out of your skin. It's body detoxifying you. And if I quit drinking kombucha, I noticed in the beginning when I first started drinking it, if I quit it, the body odor would come back. Now it doesn't. If I don't have it for a couple of days, it doesn't come back. But I remember that I got really bad if I had sugar. I would notice that, I would start to smell more. Pay attention to this. If you have a lot of processed foods and a lot of sugar, you will have worse bacteria. And that was true with me. But fast forward many years later, I haven't had that problem because I consume so much good bacteria in the form of kefir, kombucha, and cultured vegetables that I really don't need deodorants at all. I just don't. Sometimes, if I've had birthday cake or something, that's the only time I notice it. But other than that, I don't, and it's very mild. Sweat is actually very odorless, but when it's combined with certain bacterias, that's when it begins to smell. That's what happens. So, deodorants can also have harmful chemicals in them, so it's really important to use a natural one, but sometimes they don't work very well. So my suggestion to you is, if you struggle with this, is to get your gut in its rightful place, give it lots of good bacteria, and then you won't even need it, which is what has happened to me. And I've had a lot of people tell me that kombucha helped with body odor in a very powerful way. So that is my personal experience, and I love it. Okay, number 3, hormonal health. When you have a lot of excess hormones, be it premenstrual syndrome or perimenopause or menopause, kombucha is wonderful in helping to eliminate excess estrogen and other hormones that are out of balance in your body. So what happens is excess hormones that are normally eliminated through the liver and through the digestive tract. And by the way, is it 50 or 60% of the hormones are expelled through the digestive tract, not just through the liver. But kombucha can assist the liver in detoxification, and the probiotics in kombucha help with eliminating them through the digestive tract. And I found that was a really important component for me when I went through menopause. It was great. It was one of the things that I kind of upped during my menopause. I also watched what I ate, had a lot more fruits and vegetables, and that was a very, very big help to me. But you got to address the other things in your diet too. It's not just a cure-all for that. There's a lot of things going on when you have too many extra hormones in your body, but having all of these foods can greatly help with it. Now, number 4, kidney health. When I first started drinking kombucha, I noticed something that was really interesting. I started to urinate a lot, and I couldn't figure out why. But after about 4 or 5 days to a week, it subsided, and I noticed that I felt much better. And then a couple years later, I stopped drinking kombucha for 3 months because I read an article online. This was way back in the beginning from somebody supposedly who thought it was bad for you, who I thought was important. And in those 3 months, all my joint pain came back. I started feeling tired and sluggish in the afternoons. I didn't have as much energy. I couldn't sleep as well at night. So I started drinking again. And once again, in the first week, I started urinating a lot. Toxins were coming out through my kidneys. I started to smell a lot. I noticed that. That was the other thing that I noticed. And it stops within a few days. Kombucha research has found that it can repair kidney damage by environmental pollutants such as TCE and is really beneficial to people suffering from renal impairment. And so that really convinced me, my own personal body experience convinced me that I needed kombucha. So I started doing a little more research as to why they said kombucha wasn't good for you. And I realized that I had to kind of follow the money with this person because it wasn't something. Okay, so once you buy a kombucha SCOBY, you can have it and the liquid. It comes in the liquid tea. You can have it forever. I've had mine for almost 20 years. And so you can have this kombucha. It will just keep making kombucha over and over again throughout your lifetime. Well, this person didn't want you to buy it. She wanted you to buy the bacteria in kombucha because that way they could sell it over and over again. Well, I'm not into that. I want you guys to get well. So if you buy kombucha SCOBY and if you buy kefir grains, they can last your lifetime. So it doesn't have to be this huge expense. I love that these cultures reproduce themselves and can last your lifetime, and they can even go down to your children. I love that. There is nothing that I think is better than these cultures that reproduce themselves, so you're not having to buy them and causing a lot of expense in your life. You just have to buy the tea and the sugar to make with it, or the kefir grains. You have to buy the milk or the non-dairy milk, whatever you like. I love that. I love that it's sustainable, that it's something you can have forever, and it's not something you have to buy. And you can give some to your friends, so I love that. I love that about these cultures. So my take on that was she wasn't making money on it, so that's why she didn't recommend it. So that may or may not be true. But all I know is I had a lot of symptoms that happened to me after I quit drinking it. So I was like, well, I'm not listening to that. And don't listen to me either. Listen to your own body. If this is just my experience, but always take your own advice. That's really important, guys. I'm just sharing my experiences and people that I've helped. But honestly, you are smarter than you know. Your own body will teach you, because life experience really is the best way to teach yourself. Not so much through just learning something without experiencing. Because once you experience it, nobody can change your mind. And that's what happened to me. Once I saw the evidence myself of what it did for me and my family, you couldn't change my mind. So that's just my 2 cents on that. Okay, number 5, allergies. In the springtime, I up my cultured foods to help with seasonal allergies. I'm allergic to the mulberry tree. And in April, it would hit. And I would always have allergy symptoms. But if I had kombucha several times a day, and if I had kefir every morning and cultured vegetables, the low energy and detoxification from the excess pollen went away. And ingesting more microbes assisted my immune system and really helped my adrenals cope with these foreign invaders such as pollen. Ginger kombucha was one of the most effective when I had these problems. Okay, but let me explain something to you, okay? So here's the deal. When you're having an allergy to pollen, that is your body overreacting to something it shouldn't overreact to. It should be able to handle the pollen. And if it can't, that is a sign that your immune something's wrong. Something's out of balance, whether it's your gut microbiome or the foods you're ingesting or the stress you're under, something that's letting you know that your body can't handle it, and it should be able to handle it. And if it can't, then you need to be a further investigator. And I have a good blog on that too, that might help you understand what's going on. And I will link that in the description below about allergies so that you can understand that there's ways to help your immune system cope. And it's kind of a cool thing when your body overreacts to something that it shouldn't overreact to, like pollen. It's a signal that something's out of balance. So your immune system's really strong. So when it gets into that place where it's reacting to stuff, then that's a good sign that you need to do some more work and investigate. Okay, let's go to number 6, sore throats and colds. If anybody in my house has a sore throat or cold, kombucha is a wonderful way to soothe them and load the body with probiotics. And it seems to clear that junk off the back of the throat and helps clear out your sinuses too. Now, one thing to note, cold drinks can aggravate a cough and make you cough more. So in this case, let your kombucha come to room temperature, and it will also support your lymphatic system as it removes viruses and pathogens that have affected your body. It helps to bring them out of the body and exit them. And it's kind of cool how it works in the body. The certain bacteria and yeasts that are in there act like pathogens, and they attract other pathogens, and then they steal their food, and then those pathogens die. And it doesn't last very long in the body. That's one of the things, is more transient bacteria and yeast in kombucha. So it only stays 3 to 4 days in the body. So it's a good idea to have it often. Okay, number 7, joint health. Kombucha is loaded with glucosamine, which helps prevent joint damage by supporting the preservation of collagen. And it does this by increasing hyaluronic acid, which is so important for the lubrication of your joints. When joints are better able to move, the collagen doesn't get worn down as much. And I've heard from many people how much kombucha has helped them with joint pain. And it's also really effective in relieving painful swelling. And if you want more information on some of these 7 points, I'm going to link that description below too, so you can see some of these and get more information and see the research on it. It's kind of cool. So this was this was kind of one of the things that really changed my health in a very, very powerful way. It was, my cells are your cells and my cells. They're constantly reaching for wellness, and you get to decide what you supply to them in order for them to do their job. So, every day you get to decide how your body can handle things because of what you're feeding it, what you're giving to it, how it's living, how it's reacting within all of the cells of your body to keep you healthy. This is just my personal experience and my family's personal experience with kombucha. I have research to support it, but I want you to test it out for yourself, for you to see how it affects you. Start slowly with kombucha. It's a powerful detoxifier. And so sometimes you might have some die off. It especially can kill off some candida, which gives off 80 toxins when it dies off. So it can make you feel really lousy. And it can, that's one of the things that is important with any cultured foods, is you flood your body with good bacteria. Your bacteria and the good yeast will go in and decide to clean house and say, we're going to get rid of this one, we're going to get rid of this one, because now we have the numbers to do it. And so as those things die off, sometimes that can be uncomfortable. We call that a healing crisis. And you know what? I think I'm going to link that description, that article below, so you can kind of look at that too, because, as you change your microbiome and you change the foods you eat, your body changes, and it really wants to keep you well. But sometimes you can get symptoms of detoxification that can be a little bit uncomfortable. They usually are very short-lived. But it's nice to know. It's nice to understand what's happening inside your body. Anyway, this is my my personal family story on kombucha. I love it, guys. It has made such a difference in my life and my family's life. We all drink it, every one of us. And it's a very powerful food-like medicine that we love the taste, and we love the bubbliness. So I hope that helps you. I hope you can make some kombucha. It's better if you make it, but you can also buy some. And the one that I recommend that you buy is GT Synergy. I know that he doesn't pasteurize his. A lot of the other types of kombuchas on the market pasteurize them to keep them from overflowing on store shelves. He does not. He's very pure about what he does. So I really like his kombucha. I think he does a good job. And he's the one I recommend. I think there's other good ones too, but I just don't know how, a lot of them don't put on there whether they slightly pasteurize some of them, which would make you lose a lot of the benefits. So anyway, that's just my personal take. I hope you'll try some kombucha, and if you don't want to make it, you can buy it, but I can teach you how to make it, and I will put that link in the description below. It's super easy to make. I have videos and instructions and step-by-step pictures, and I have 8 days of kombucha so you can see how each day is going to look, just to help you. So anyway, that's my take, and I hope you guys have a good week. I hope you'll try some kombucha, and I hope to see you next time.